is from David Hughes.
On each agenda presented for each meeting, you have a warning. The tone and comments should be civil. You say, in the interest of maintaining order, civility, and brevity at our meetings, the following guidelines apply. 1. Substance and tone are expected to remain respectful. Comments containing profane or offensive language will not be read during the meeting. It appears that your concerns and admonishments are directed only to we, the public. Yet to allow Mr. Cusatis to continue his disrespectful tone and uncivil comments to colleagues and the public in general must stop. Mr. Cusatis is permitted to harass a colleague repeatedly, meeting after meeting.
Can you pause that a minute, Laurie?
There,
Yeah.
he seems to enjoy criticizing, intimidating, and humiliating.
Just pause that for a second. I just want to make a comment.
Yeah, he's attacking.
About John, let me just try to address this. I mean, we've talked about this in past meetings before, and this is a Board of Supervisors meeting, and public comment is directed at the entire board. If the public chooses to attack or any individual either on the board or the staff, we certainly have said, and we list in our meeting rules, that we will cut off that public comment. But it's not my decision, it's the board decision that we would, make a motion if we want to cut off a public comment if they're attacking any one individual. I think, we're, in this case, it sounded like, it's my job, I think, of this meeting to maintain order. Haven't always done that. John and I, Michelle, we've had discussions, and we'll try to keep that civil in the future. But
Agreed.
My comment here, and I don't know, Jeff, if you want to comment that, we said we're not going to allow individual attack of board members or the administration during public comment. So,
well, it's the same character. He attacks everybody, not just me. He attacks you, Dave, and Jen Savage.
Well, and this is just one example, so I'm not singling you out, but we kind of have that meeting rule. So I just wanted to stop this comment at this point so we could have a discussion and say, what is our definition of this and how do we want to move forward on this? Not my decision, but I want to hear others' opinions.
If I could weigh in on this, I've been doing this for quite a few years, and this type of issue comes up at every public meeting that I've ever been involved with. And there are differences of opinion, but I do believe that everyone needs to be respectful. Board members of the public and the public of the board and the staff. I don't appreciate my staff being personally attacked on their abilities or what have you. If you have a comment, it's a public comment. You make your comment and we move on. It doesn't necessarily warrant a public discourse every time something comes up. Information that's asked for that cannot be provided immediately. There shouldn't be any expectation that a very detailed answer would be given on the fly on a very detailed subject. So to attack a staff member that doesn't have that information on the tip of their tongue, I think is really unjust to them and does not promote good cooperation between the residents and the staff. I personally don't appreciate comments that are made about me. I have broad shoulders, I can handle it, but if you really want to discuss something, you can contact me via email, and I will get back to you and I'll discuss something. But having personal attacks on people's abilities at a public meeting really doesn't have a good place. We do want the residents' input. There's no question about it. You have the right as the residents and taxpayers to give input at the meetings. However, it should not turn into a major public discourse back and forth, where people end up attacking each other. So I just hope that everyone will be respectful. I will do my best to try and mediate some of these situations and listen to the residents. I don't know the residents here. I'm going to get to know them. And I hope that they will give the board, my staff and myself respect, and we will be doing the same back to you, the residents.
Keep in mind,
Thanks, Jeff. And just, Dave, just the one thing that I've seen on both sides when I was out in the audience is I think at times there was just a level of animosity. And again, we're talking both ways. I'm not pointing fingers or individuals, because that's not the case at all. We're all going to have difference of opinions. There's no problem with that. It's just being respectful about their difference of opinions. I know every resident that reaches out to me via email, I respond to them, I comment with them, and it may be something like, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that. But I don't think it's just the residents to the board or the board to the residents. I think it also is the board to the board and the board to the administration. So I just think that everyone just needs to understand that there's going to be difference of opinions and just maintain that level of civility and respect at all times, even if we don't like the other opinion. And a lot of times it's not what's said, it's the delivery. And I believe we just need to be careful and kind of measure our tone at times. I know I will. I have always done it that way. And if anyone feels that I'm not doing it the way it should be, please let me know.
and I'll promise to do better as well. And another comment I just want to make about the individual, Jeff, just so you're aware, is that we did send this individual a letter in December that he was to watch his tone, watch his respect level. So this gentleman does have a letter from the board in December last year. It was last year's board. Dave and I were still on the board, but this gentleman does have a letter that I'll send you that we sent on behalf of the board to him, watching his tone in that. So again, for him to derail that, and he has to live by that letter, that he's to watch his tone and watch his behavior.
Yeah, and I don't want to do, thanks, John. I don't want to derail things here. I wanted to pause there, and it's up to the board here whether we want to continue this comment. I just wanted to have this discussion. It felt like a good time. Go ahead, Greg.
The one thing I would say is I don't think his point is unfair. I would just ask that he not use specific names.
Yeah. Because
if you take a look at the point is we should be treating each other with respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, and in the past, names have been allowed to be used. That's trying to be curtailed. And I think rightfully so. But let's not forget what the point is too. And I don't think we have, because everyone kind of echoed his point.
Yep.
Yeah. No, good comment, Greg. Sam, anything from your end?
No, I mean, it's up to you. It's up to the board, as you said, Dave, as to how you guys have to make a decision about how you want to proceed.
Yeah, no, it's up to everyone else. I'm fine with continuing with the message. I just wanted to have the discussion. Do you want to continue with the comment?
I'm fine with continuing with the comment.
Me too.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I am not, I'm going to start it from the beginning if that's okay with you, because I'm not 100% sure where it led off.
It appears that your concerns and admonishments are directed only to we, the public. Yet to allow Mr. Cusatis to continue his disrespectful tone and uncivil comments to colleagues and the public in general must stop. Mr. Cusatis is permitted to harass a colleague repeatedly, meeting after meeting. But he doesn't stop there. He seems to enjoy criticizing, intimidating, and humiliating citizens who venture forward to make public comments. He makes unsubstantiated statements declaring colleagues are wrong, citizens are liars, or information they discuss are falsehoods. He does all of this without offering a bit of evidence. Mr. Cusatis' adolescent behavior is outrageous from any perspective, and the board should censor him. He doesn't just damage the supervisor's role, which is to represent the public. His behavior reflects upon the other three gentlemen on the board as well. If the rules you are presenting to the public do not apply to supervisors, perhaps you need to adopt rules to mitigate your behavior as well, because it truly does reflect upon all of you. We ask Mr. Cusatis to resign from the board immediately.
Hey, Lori, there's just to be, Lori forwarded the statement to me. I want to indicate that that there were quotes that were used throughout in some instances that the voiceover didn't pick up. So I'll just so for purposes of accuracy, I'm just going to state that when the statement made his behavior reflects upon the other three gentlemen was in quotes with a capital G. And there were quotes that were put around the statement that he makes unsubstantiated statements declaring colleagues there's quotes wrong, citizens are quote liars, or information they discuss are quote unquote falsehoods, just for purposes of accuracy, because I don't think the computer voice generator word picked that up. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Supervisor reports.